W
T L.
It's time! W
T L.
I think we got a show. Oh yeah, we got a show. W
T L.
And welcome back, everybody, to WTL. Where's the Line? Nebraska's first and only sports betting show. I am your host, Andy Klassen, joined by
Jabron.
the Parlay Pounder.
You got it. We're back.
And we're only blessed with the biggest, most extravagant sports betting weekend of the year.
The best week of the year.
We're talking about Super Bowl 58.
Yes.
And to throw a little something on it, it's in Las Vegas.
It's in Las Vegas. Can't get better than this, Andy.
Wow.
The betting capital of the world with the Super Bowl, with the two best teams in the world. It's awesome.
You know, about a year and a half ago, the NFL was still steadfast, like, oh, gambling's bad. We would never want to associate ourselves with sports betting. No. Now just about every team has a sports betting partner.
No doubt.
The Super Bowl is in Las Vegas.
Yep.
For the first time
They're
ever.
full blown into it, and it's on every commercial, everything. It's every podcast that the players do now. They have to sit out of the betting part of it, but
right.
It's still part of their podcast. It's crazy.
Yeah. But FanDuel,
Yep.
The official
awesome.
sports betting partner of the NFL.
Yes, sir.
So with that, we want to talk about the opening line, a little bit of the line movement here, and then maybe we'll get into some of those fun props, those novelty props here
got to
get things going on. So way back when, feels like forever ago.
Yeah.
I'm talking about January 22nd. That was a Monday. The line opened up at 2.5. San Francisco was your favorite.
Yeah.
A lot of people kind of raised their eyebrows thinking, really, San Francisco? Okay. Well, that following Monday got bet all the way down to 1. Plus 1.
Yeah.
San Francisco is still your favorite. Since that time, since February 28th, that was a Monday, it has slowly got bet back up. Now we're sitting at about a 2, maybe a 2.5 if you're looking at, all the different options out there.
Yeah, for sure, Andy. This is not moving a lot. I do believe it's going to move closer to the game on Sunday. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people are waiting to see if more money's going to hit on the 49ers before they start unloading on the Kansas City Chiefs. I think a lot of people right now think they're in a very good groove right here with the Kansas City Chiefs getting points, but they would like it to be that +3 instead of that +2 or that +2.5. Mm-hmm. If they can get it at 3, a whole bunch of money is going to get put on Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes. Getting points with Patrick Mahomes is always a good thing, no matter what, as an underdog, but people would rather see that 3 instead of this 2.
Yeah, and typically the sharps will pour a lot of money in early if they see a lot of value, and then they'll wait till the very last second to get the rest of their, whether that's a hedge type of bet or they're really pouring it on. It will be interesting to see come Super Bowl Sunday, that morning, what type of shifts will we see. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm kind of with you on this one. I think it's going to tighten up even more.
Yeah, for sure.
I think you have a lot of sharps out there waiting for more and more San Francisco faithful, some more fans to maybe pour some money in on. Because if you're locked in on the 49ers,
just take the money line. You
Yep.
don't need the -2, -3, all that kind of stuff. Just take the money line. It's pretty much the same bet straight across anyway. So if you're on the 49ers, put the bet in now. But if you're still waiting for some value on the Chiefs, maybe wait a little bit longer. But
maybe
it's gonna flip no matter what. It's gonna flip.
You think it's gonna flip on all? Okay.
I think it's gonna flip down to KC's way because I think people will not bet against Mahomes. Keep doing it. So we'll see.
That's such a good point. It's like it negates everything.
It really does.
It's like the old, like half the Super Bowls over the last decade. Well, you bet against Tom Brady. Look out,
it's not going to work.
Another line that really hasn't moved at all. I've been keeping a close eye on this one has been that total. Opened up at 47.5. And I haven't seen much movement at all. In fact, I just opened up and all the books I'm looking at still have it at 47.5.
Yeah, it's crazy, Andy. And that's why this line is so even because nobody can really tell who has the edge here.
Right.
Everybody says San Francisco 49ers has the bigger playmakers, but they don't have Patrick Mahomes. Kansas City has the better defense, but San Francisco has huge playmakers on the defensive side. So it really is just this really good game with two very good teams in it, Andy.
Yeah.
And you can just tell the over-under by the team totals, Andy, that we're going to get into. Both of the teams are locked in at 23.5.
Yeah.
Both of them. So you can go over-under on each team on 23.5. And that's going to, pretty much dictate how you want to go on the over-under. Do you want to go over with the Chiefs over 23.5? I believe that's probably the way it's going to be.
Okay.
I think both teams probably eclipse 24 points, so I like the over here, Andy. I really do.
Well, San Francisco has an offense throughout the entirety of this season, and Brock's been there all season long. I don't believe he's had any traumatic injuries, dramatic injuries, or anything like that. They average 28 points per game.
No doubt.
And Kansas City averaged 22 points per game.
Yep.
You think you're going to see a little extra juice here for the Chiefs, even though they've won a couple games ugly, even in the playoffs.
Yeah,
they've been able to just get a touchdown, and a field goal lead, and then Andy Reid, he's more than confident in his defense, and he just has his offense go out there and basically play keep away.
Yeah, for sure, Andy. I don't like this narrative like that Kansas City, didn't put up a lot of points last week or last game against the Ravens.
They did.
And San Francisco's going to start slow again like they did against the Lions. This is the Super Bowl. This is all everything out on the table. I don't believe that either of these teams are going to start slow. I believe it's going to be a high-scoring game, and these teams are going to push each other really high. I like the over. I like over 47.5.
Now, I wouldn't be surprised if Kansas City starts out really hot.
Yeah.
Maybe even scores first, and San Francisco tries to match that. I just don't know. Will Kansas City's defense allow the 49ers to move the ball? They haven't been really chewing up big yardage consistently throughout the playoffs.
Yeah.
So I mean, I see a moment for pause there for maybe an under bet here or there.
Yeah.
And that's exactly why you're seeing that line not move. You think over? I'm kind of leaning towards the under, maybe.
Definitely my one lock of what we just said is the Kansas City Chiefs over 23.5.
Yeah.
I really like the Kansas City Chiefs to score 24 points for sure in this game.
All righty. Do you want to get into some of these
Let's do it.
Prop bets?
Some of the fun ones. I like the fun ones. We'll get a little serious down the road here and, give our real picks at the end of the game, at the end of the podcast here.
I got a serious one for you.
Let me hear it.
Okay. Well, you remember last year Rob Gronkowski missed the kick of destiny?
Yes, he did.
Field goal?
Yes.
25-yarder. I mean, that thing didn't even get off the ground. It was like a squib kick, right?
Yes, it looked very bad.
FanDuel Sportsbook is running it back. Okay. Talking about FanDuel and DraftKings tied into this.
They're making a lot of money this week.
They're running it back. Win a share of $10 million.
Whoa.
Woo! Do you think he's going to make it this time or not? The kick of destiny,
do you think he's taking it serious at all? Do you think that he's even thought about this since last February?
I hope he has. $10 million.
I just don't think that Gronk cares about this. What's $10 million to Gronk, especially if he's not getting
he can't get in there.
Yeah, so I think it'll be a better kick than last year, but I still don't think he makes it. I'm not on the side of Gronk making this field goal.
All right, so if you get part of that promo or get in that, you're saying not
I'm
even
saying
close.
No. I'm saying no.
Okay. He's no Vinatieri.
Yeah, I mean, like he had great kickers his whole career. He's never even had to think about it. So that's what it happens.
All right, give me one.
Well, I think I have to start with the lady of the week. It's Taylor Swift.
Okay.
And which happens first after kickoff? Taylor Swift is shown on TV or a score in the game? What happens first? Does somebody score, or do we see Taylor after kickoff?
Wow.
Taylor Swift is in the lead right now with a minus 175 bet, and the first score is at a plus 130. Do we really think that the Super Bowl is going to let the score happen before we see Taylor after kickoff?
No way. No way. They got to show her.
That's a lock, right?
Yeah, I think that's a lock.
This is a lock after kickoff. They might show just the guy kicking it and then pan to Taylor Swift as the guy's catching the opening kickoff.
They might have to.
Yeah,
they might have to.
I don't know if anybody's going to be glued to the TV if Taylor's not. But I think this is a lock. I think it's an absolute lock. Minus 175, still pretty good value, Andy, with something that I think is going to for sure happen.
Hey, the NFL now is part of Swiftie culture, so let's stay right there.
Okay.
Odds Travis Kelce proposes to Taylor Swift after the game on the field. Yes, is that a plus 820? No, is that a minus 2,000?
Yeah, I mean, like, you really got to have some money that you're looking to, double up or,
plus 820.
Yeah,
Are you thinking he's going to do it?
No doubt. They have to win first. He's not going to be able to propose to her after they lose.
That would be hilarious.
That would be very good.
They're out there celebrating, and he's proposing. That is such an on-brand thing for Travis Kelce to do.
I think it's so much stuff that has to happen correctly for that to happen.
Don't touch it.
I'm not going to touch that one with my money.
-2,000. Get out of here.
Yep, no, but I don't think so.
Okay. I just saw that.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's fun. It's fun to talk about. Last one that I wanted to talk about, Andy. Mm-hmm. It's kind of a fun one for me. Jersey number of first touchdown score over 22.5.
Okay.
You're
Yep.
Everybody's saying over because you got the big hammers with McCaffrey and Kelce.
Yep.
But you got in Kittle. Yep. Those are your three. Mm-hmm. But on the other side of the spectrum, you got everybody.
Right.
You got Pacheco. You got Mahomes. You got Brock. You got Ayuk.
Number
you got
11.
Debo.
Yeah.
You got everybody else except for the two ones that get the majority of the touchdowns, obviously.
Wow.
It's a -110 bet either way. But I think you're getting way more value with the under here, Andy. I think you're getting way more value, way more players.
So. Yeah.
But you know how this goes. McCaffrey and Kelce are the red zone guys.
Yep.
And, people are going to hate me if I say under, but I really think you get way more value with the under, way more players. And, Debo can, take one to the house, Pacheco, hard running, and all that kind of stuff. So I'm on the under on that one. Most people would expect me to go with my boy Christian, but I believe he will score. I just don't know if it'll be the first time.
No, I kind of like that. And I'm big on Pacheco.
Yeah.
So, of course, I'm kind of big on what you just said there.
For sure.
You heard the horn, so we're kind of up against it, but I got another one. I just saw it here, and I really like it. We're talking big plus money here.
Yes.
Plus 1,400. Will there be an octopus? You know what that is?
I do not.
We're not talking about like a hockey game where they throw the octopus out on the field.
Yep.
We're talking about a player scoring 8 points in a row. It was the first time in Super Bowl history. It happened last year. Jalen Hurts ran in a touchdown, then he had the 2-point conversion. An octopus. He scored 8.
Yeah.
We have two quarterbacks that can move with their feet, especially Mahomes.
Yeah.
And if we're thinking this is going to be a tight, crazy game, we've seen this before where it's a quarterback rush to the end zone.
Yeah.
Well, we saw it last year. Mm-hmm. And then the 2-point conversion, a quarterback keeper.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, McCaffrey could do that.
Too. CMC too.
There
you go.
Even Pacheco could
Plus
do it.
1,400.
Even Kelce could do something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
it
is a little risk. I mean, but put $5-10 on it.
Why not?
Get a little return there. That sounds fun. I think I'll be throwing a little bit of money on that. That sounds fun.
A little sprinkle. Good for
I love
sprinkle.
that.
The octopus.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's take a minute to recognize one of our fabulous partners, and that is the Nebraska Brewing Company. And we got to talk about the pickle fight.
Yes.
And its glorious return.
Spicy.
Spicy pickle fight. This spicy variant was made for the bold, bringing a healthy amount of spice that is perfectly balanced with a zesty pickle flavor. For those that crave adventure, Spicy Pickle Fight is the real deal. I was just reading it. I didn't come up with that joke.
No, it's a very good selling point, and if you're going to have a Bloody Mary on Super Bowl Sunday, this is the beer to do it.
Don't go anywhere. This is WTL. And welcome back, everybody, to WTL. You know that stands for Where's the Line? Nebraska's first and only sports betting show. I'm your host, Andy Klassen, and I'm joined by
Jabron.
Oh, the parlay pounder.
You got it.
And it is your time to shine. It is Super Bowl week.
Yes.
So many different prop bets, so many different eyeballs on this game. I got some really fun stats that we can run down just about the game and the spectacle that it's turned into just from that point.
For sure.
It's more than just a game now. It's a cultural event.
You can literally bet on any single thing you want to on this day. But I would love to get in some player props.
I mean, you always could bet on it. This time it's on the level. It's above the table, or however they say that.
It's legal.
And, of course, we're talking about the San Francisco 49ers taking on the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Chiefs are a 2-point dog, and that's where we want to put our focus on right now. Chiefs and some player props that have kind of caught our eye.
Yeah, Andy, and I want to start with the big man. I want to start with Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
A couple of them that kind of contradict themselves in my mind, Andy.
Okay.
Patrick Mahomes' total completions, a lot of people are saying under 25.5.
Yeah.
The under has hit 4 of his last 6 playoff games.
Yeah.
But it kind of contradicts with Patrick Mahomes' total passing attempts, which everybody is on the over 36.5, Andy.
Is that people hedging, you think?
Just the over has hit in 8 of his 11 playoff games.
Yeah.
So this is a pretty crazy one that people are betting the under on the total completions and the over on the attempts.
What about the passing yards? 260.5.
Yeah.
That's a minus 115 bets, kind of a straight up type of deal there.
Yeah.
That's another one where that's been pretty consistent. He hasn't been smacking the over consistently.
No, Andy.
But if you're thinking the Super Bowl, he's going to start lighting it up. I mean, I don't know.
A lot of people are on the under with that one, Andy.
Yeah.
It has hit 2 of the 3 Chiefs playoffs games this postseason. 49ers also have allowed 260 passing yards or less in 5 straight playoff games. So it's a little bit of a crazy one, but I think Mahomes can probably eke out the over on those passing yards, and I really like the passing attempts. I'll probably stay away from the completions just because I think he's probably going to have a good day and might be right around that 25-26 range.
Right.
But I think he is probably going to pass attempt probably around 40.
Yeah, probably. And if he does that, I think he's going to get – I really do think he's probably going to get over 260 yards.
Yes, I do too,
So
Andy. With 40 attempts, Mahomes probably 260 yards. I like those 2 plays a lot on the over.
Yeah, I would rather double down, and if I win one, I'm going to win the other.
Yeah, exactly.
Rather than hedge, kind of like how you open with the completions.
Yeah.
And the yards. What about his rushing yards?
Yeah.
Everyone's talking about this. I'm looking at 26.5, kind of a consensus number there across a lot of books at a minus 125, minus 120. I've heard all sorts of different reasons here. Bottom line is he can get out and scramble, and in big moments in the second half, the fourth quarter, he gets those yards.
He extends plays like nobody else. That's why he's here, Andy.
Yeah.
You saw it even in this playoff, breaking his helmet, trying to get extra yards.
Yep.
The really big thing looking at here, 26.5, the over is hitting all 3 of Mahomes' Super Bowl appearances with his rushing yards. So I believe this is probably one of those locks that people are looking at as, a really, really good bet for them to throw either in a parlay or maybe just blow their whole wad on Patrick Mahomes running.
A lot of folks that I've been listening to and reading about that are skeptical of this number, they're saying, look, if the Chiefs are winning at the end of the game, he's going to kneel down. He's going to lose maybe 10, 15 yards on the last 3 plays of the game. Right there, you're contradicting yourself because the 49ers are picked to win. So what are you saying?
Yeah,
he's going to lose his rushing yards in victory formation?
No,
that's what do
you're nitpicking there, Andy. I really don't put too much stock into the kneeling.
Yeah.
People saying he's going to run back 15 yards and take a knee. When have you ever seen that? Not going to happen. Mahomes gets rid of the ball. That's what happens. I love the over. The last one I want to talk to you about Mahomes, Andy, is the total passing touchdowns over 1.5 at a minus 160. Over his hit in 7 of his last 9 playoff games. Kelsey's going to get in the end zone, and you have to think that one of these times he's going to get MVS or Rashid for a long one as well.
Okay.
I like the over.
You like the over? I think it's hard to argue the over on that. 2
Yeah.
touchdowns, that just sounds like a normal day of work for
Normal day of work
Mahomes.
for the best player in the Super Bowl.
How about, do you want to go talk Travis Kelce, the tight end, or do you want to talk about Pacheco here?
Either one of them. I mean, we're kind of on Mahomes, so why don't we just shift to Kelce real quick and end with Pacheco. A lot of people are just on him for over 6.5 receptions, Andy. It's at a minus 140 right now. The over has hit in 6 of Kelce's last 8 playoff games.
Yes, it has.
And as of late, he has been the magnet for the ball in the air for the Kansas City Chiefs. You got to think this is going to hit, especially with all eyes on Kelce and Mahomes.
He averaged over 6 during the regular season.
Yeah.
Every game this season, he averaged over 6 receptions per game,
Yeah.
and now you're telling me it's the Super Bowl and they're going to look away from him?
Yeah.
And they're also breaking in new receivers because they've been rotating guys in and out trying to find receivers. The one constant has been Travis Kelce.
No doubt.
You know Mahomes is going to be going to him.
He's the
throughout.
man.
Yep.
He's the man. And then what the really big kicker here, Andy, with the plus money for Kelce right now, you can still get any time touchdown score is at a plus 100 on FanDuel and DraftKings still. Kelce has scored a touchdown in 8 of his last 9 playoff games. You will not find a better statistic to go along with. He is going to get there in the red zone, and he is the big target. That's why, this plus money on this one, it's a good parlay piece for sure.
All right, Mr. Parlay Pounder, I got a little one for you here.
Let's go.
I'm looking at a plus 925. Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes each scores a touchdown.
Ooh, I like it.
Plus
I do.
925.
I do. It just, when you get with that quarterback stuff, is it too far for Pacheco to get in? Are they going to let Mahomes run it in? Is it going to be too far for Mahomes to run? I just don't like putting a lot of stock into quarterbacks scoring rushing touchdowns, but with that good of odds, Andy, put a $5 bill on it, and take it to the bank. So I do like the bet. I just won't put a lot of money on it.
Okay. You got any other Kelce's, or you want to shift over to Pacheco?
Those are my two Kelce ones. I got some really good ones for Isaiah, though. So
all right, well, let's do it. There's plenty of really good. I think there's some really good value bets here.
Yes, I love Isaiah's lines here.
First touchdown scored at a plus 700. I don't know where you want to go with this one, but I'm seeing all sorts of good ones.
Yeah, for sure. That plus 700, Andy, is definitely good value for as good a player as Isaiah is.
That's on DraftKings.
And if they get down to the 5-yard line inside, that is, that's pretty much a mortal lock on first and second down that he's getting the ball. Yeah. So I really like that one to sprinkle a little bit on. The one that I think is just a lock. Isaiah Pacheco, total rushing attempts over 15.5 is at a minus 130 right now in DraftKings. Pacheco has logged 24 rushing attempts in 2 of the last 3 playoff games, Andy.
Yep.
He is going to get at least 16 attempts. This guy is the man. He runs nasty. They are going to give him the ball to try and speed this game up and get it over with. So I love that one. It's a lock for me.
I think the anytime touchdown at minus 110, minus 120, I think that's not a lock, but it's
really good.
I'd feel pretty good about that bet as well. I just think he's going to be getting the ball a lot. And
no doubt.
We've seen it from Coach Reed time and time again. He really likes to lean on his running backs.
Yeah.
And how I kind of view this game breaking down, I think they're going to start hot. And I think if they can just get a little lead, even if it's a 3-point lead, they're going to be looking to that running back even more so.
No doubt, Andy. And they got to get that play action going anyway, so it's going to set up with Isaiah. Total rushing yards is a very achievable line here at 65.5. That's also a minus 125 on DraftKings. Pacheco has gone over this number in all but one of his 6 career playoff games, Andy. I love the over here on 65.5 yards. Yeah. He's just going to get too many attempts to keep him under that. One long shot that I do have for Isaiah, Andy, is an alternate rushing yards at over 100 is at a plus 425, Andy.
Ooh, wow.
I just love the value on this play. The 49ers are allowing the most playoff rushing yards per game, 159, entering the Super Bowl since the 1966 Green Bay Packers. So
the Packers.
They are giving up a lot of yards. Like I said, this is kind of a long shot bet, but to get this value at plus 425. I just think it's a good thing to put a little bit of money on, and if he has a huge game like we're thinking he might, it's a good one. Yeah. It's a good one.
So then you obviously like the total receiving and rushing yards at 85, 86.
Love it.
I'm seeing 86 in some books, 85.5. That's at a minus 125. Is that 85.5?
Yep.
You're thinking over. Easy over on that one?
I think it's an over. I don't too much like Isaiah Pacheco and his receiving capabilities because they'll slide in Clyde in there and give him a couple snaps or whatever. But anything in Pacheco, you're gonna not be able to talk me off the ledge on because I really like Isaiah in this game. I would be very skeptical if we didn't talk about Rashid Rice. He's the number one receiver, Andy.
Okay, he is.
I don't.
He's emerged.
Yeah, his catches are right at the same as Travis Kelce. That's why I'm kind of staying away from it. Over 6.5, but the over has hit in 2 of the 3 playoff games this season.
What people remember the last 2 games.
He has been getting the ball a lot. I don't have enough trust in him to get 7 receptions and feel good about the bet. Total receiving yards under 66.5, I think, is a very good play. The under is hit in 2 of the 3 playoff games of the season. I'm not saying that I hate Rashid Rice in the line. I'm just saying that I just think it's going to be a little bit more Isaiah Pacheco and Travis Kelce time. So I'm out on the Rashid lines this week.
Yeah, and I just listened to a guy make a huge case for Rice. I'm like, it all sounds good. Yeah. I know that's what he's done the last couple of games, but it's such a small body of work. Yeah. And like you just keep saying, this is the Super Bowl, and Patrick Mahomes is going to want to go to who he's most comfortable with. And I know out of the receiving core that's been rotating names and bodies in and out, It's Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
And Edwards-Helaire out of the backfield, too. I like that. You mentioned that earlier.
Yeah, for sure. And if I was going to take a flyer on a receiver, Andy, real quick here, MVS, total receiving yards, is just at 19.5. Okay. And if you want to take a flyer on somebody that usually catches a ball, it's going to be longer than 20 yards. So it is kind of a little bit of candy dangling in front of you because they're saying he's probably not going to get a catch is what this line is referring to. So if you want to take a little gamble on MVS getting a catch, over 19.5 yards, I believe, is a very good play for that.
All righty. Well, let's take a minute to recognize one of our fabulous partners, and that is the Stock and Rod Company, an outdoor lifestyle brand for those seeking adventure. Whether it's hunting, fishing, or hiking, they got you covered. Visit stockandrod.com to get your wild game on. Don't go anywhere. This is WTL. And welcome back, everybody, to WTL. Where's the line? Nebraska's first and only sports betting show. I'm your host, Andy Klassen, joined by
Jabron.
Oh, the parlay pounder.
Yes, sir. You got it.
All right. So we talked a little prop bets. We talked about Kansas City Chiefs player props. We got to talk about the 49ers.
Yeah, we got to flip the script, Andy, and go with the gold and red.
Yep, the Gold Rush. They are the 2-point favorite, hanging on to that 2-point line there. And if people feel like they're having a little deja vu, that's because they are. Just 4 seasons ago, the Chiefs crushed the 49ers in their Super Bowl aspirations and actually beat them 31-20 back February of 2020.
Yeah, for sure. Some bad memories for 49ers fans. Go up by 10 in the fourth quarter and lose the game. It's, But I mean, they got another shot at it. Probably should have had another shot at it last year, getting the quarterbacks hurt in the NFC Championship game against the Eagles. So, they're back. Let's get into some player props, Andy. Obviously, we got to start with the Iowa State guy, Mr. Brock Purdy.
Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah, and the people are really saying he's irrelevant with these lines here, Andy. Brock Purdy's total passing completions, a lot of people are going on the under on 20.5. The under has hit 5 of the last 7 games, including the NFC Championship.
Really?
Brock Purdy total passing attempts under 31.5. The under has hit in 13 of his last 15 games, including the NFC Championship. The one that a lot of people are really going over, Randy, on are Brock Purdy, total passing yards over 247.5. The over is hit in both playoff games this season. So he's not getting a lot of attempts, but those people, when he gets them the ball, can really run for a long ways.
Right. And I like how he's playing off everyone trying to attack him for being a game manager. He's like, I take that as a compliment. I just get the ball to these open guys and then let them do the work. I mean, making a 5-yard pass to Christian McCaffrey where he's got space to work with, yeah, that's like a 15-yard completion.
That's gonna work out. It's gonna work out most times to Debo and Ayuk. But so that is the one that I really like for Brock. Another one people are looking at is Brock Purdy total passing touchdowns. A lot of people are going on the under with this. Under 1.5. The under is hitting 4 straight playoff games for Brock. They just get inside the red zone and they run it in. That's what they do. So he usually gets about 1 touchdown, averages it. But I would be on the under as well, Andy. So that's the lines for Brock. Some good ones. I'm definitely on that over the passing yards, though.
What about you? I think you kind of breezed right through it there. I was thinking those passing attempts. I'm looking at 30.5. You had like a 31 there.
31.5, probably bet down.
You know, I see a reason for that under. If they're behind and they get thrown out of their script and they can't, and even if they just stick to their script, these are still, we just mentioned it, short passes. Just extended handoffs.
The over definitely could hit.
I kind of like the over on his passing attempts because I just think that kind of fits their game plan anyway.
And Mahomes is going to push him to do that.
Yes, and Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes, all that is going to push him to do that, do just that.
You got stats, back on the other side, but sometimes in the Super Bowl, stats don't matter. So I would not frown at the fact that he has over 30 passing attempts. Like you said, even if it gets bet down to under 30, be looking at that line and you maybe take a flyer on the over.
Hey, there you go.
Go Brock.
I know you want to talk about CMC.
My dude.
Christian
That's
McCaffrey.
my guy, my Panther, my all-time favorite. But no, yeah, he has some really fun lines out there. Obviously, anytime touchdown scorer is right there, Andy. But his is
minus 250 on
minus 250 to get any value out of Christian for touchdowns. You have to go at least 2, and that's at plus 250, 245, wherever you can get it at. But a lot of the ones that people are looking in on are his total rushing attempts, and a lot of people are going under, Andy. Under 18.5 is at a plus 100 on DraftKings right now.
Okay.
The under has hit 5 of McCaffrey's 6 playoff games. So he does a lot of work in so little of carries that it makes it feel like he's getting the ball a lot more than he is.
And also, if I'm thinking Brock Purdy's going to throw for over 31 attempts, that also cuts into it.
Definitely does.
So I kind of like that.
Yep. Christian McCaffrey, I believe this is kind of an inflated number. His total rushing yards, 90.5 right now. I would probably have to side with the under on this, Andy. The under has hit 3 of McCaffrey's last 4 playoff games. Yeah. The Chiefs also haven't allowed a 90-yard rusher in 15 straight playoff games. 15 straight.
Patrick Mahomes signed that lifetime contract so they could go get defenders, pay defenders, and man, have they done that, and you're seeing it this year. And everyone wants to talk about this depleted receiver core.
Yeah.
Well, that's okay because we have the defense to keep us in
the game.
You know, you're talking about the touchdowns for CMC.
Yeah.
And I was looking like, okay, let's get some value here. First touchdown scored. That's not even a good value.
No.
Plus 120.
It's not.
Plus 120 is one of the best books out there right now.
It's not a good enough value to do it, Andy. No, it's just not. He scores too frequently and too often to get to get value out of his touchdowns. He has to score 2 touchdowns to get any value. The prop that I am going all in on McCaffrey, if I do go all in on one, is McCaffrey total receptions over 4.5. That's at a minus 120 right now on DraftKings. McCaffrey has averaged over 5 receptions per game in his last 4 playoff games. That is the prop for McCaffrey that I really, really like.
You got that at 4.5? 4.5 receptions, and I like that. And I want to clarify. First touchdown scored in the game is at a plus 400. Scores a touchdown in the first half is at plus 120. Like, what are we talking about?
It's still crazy. It's still crazy, Andy.
Where's my value?
There's not a lot of value in it. But, if you're looking for a parlay piece to at least get McCaffrey in your parlay or in the betting slot, I love those receptions over 4.5. I think that's a lock. He is going to get a lot of dump-offs in this game.
Receptions are the way to go. And even Super Bowl MVPs at a plus 450. So I mean, that's just the same odds as him scoring the first touchdown of the game. Like, wow.
Exactly. And you got to think if they win the Super Bowl, they have to kind of make it Mr. Irrelevance award. It's such a big award for him. So
what about his receiving yards? I'm looking at a 35 or 33 and a half yards now. I think he's going over that.
I love that, especially because he can do it in one play. He can get 50 yards on one reception. I think he's going to get at least 5 receptions, 6 receptions, and that would be very hard for him not to get 33 yards in those receptions.
And he's one of those guys that Brock Purdy looks to. Regardless if he's open, he's not open, it doesn't matter. Sometimes he's going to force feed it to CMC, and it's not a bad idea.
No, it's not.
Really
and
not.
I'm going under on my 2 receivers here, Andy, so I really think he's dumping it off to him in Kittle in this game a lot. So I'll just segue into it. Just like I said, Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk are both at 4.5 receptions, Andy, and I'm going under on both of them.
Okay.
Deebo, the under has hit in 8 of his 11 playoff games with the 49ers. Brandon Ayuk, the under has hit in his last 7 playoff games.
Yeah, I mean,
last 7.
It's hard to get the ball around all these guys.
It is.
And Deebo Samuel, he's been fighting an injury.
Yep.
And a lot of times he was decoy a couple of weeks ago.
It is.
But he still made a couple plays. I don't want to take it away from him. You mentioned George Kittle.
Yes.
I think that is such an interesting guy to try and bet this Super Bowl because sometimes he does not fill up the stat sheet.
He doesn't.
Plays a good game.
Yep.
Lays a couple good blocks, makes a couple big catches. But as far as receiving yards and this and that, he had not been consistent this season as far as those prop bets have gone.
No.
I have a favorite, but I want to hear what maybe yours is when we're talking about George Kittle.
With George Kittle, it has to be receptions for me, Andy.
Receptions?
I think they're going to get him involved, and I think they're going to get him involved early. It's only at 3.5 receptions. He has to get 4 receptions. I believe this is light work for George. Like you said, sometimes the script just goes away from him, but I believe the Super Bowl is the way to do it. Are you looking more on the yard side?
Yeah, I'm looking at longest reception,
Okay.
over 20 and a half yards.
Yeah.
I think he's a walking big play. Even in the last Super Bowl, didn't have a great game as far as stats are concerned, but he still had a touchdown and a couple big time receptions.
Yeah.
So I this season, his average reception was 16 yards.
Yeah.
His average reception was 16 yards.
Yeah, you think he's going to get one of those for sure.
I think he's getting one.
I'm in on that, Andy, as well. I really do like the receptions. I think a lot of people are downplaying his value in this game, Andy. One more guy that we talked about a little bit before this is Kyle Juszczyk, and they are really dumbing down his. He's only at a catch.
Right.
Will he get a catch? I really do believe that they're going to get Kyle the ball, if not in a high-pressure situation.
I think they'll get the fullback pass. I really think he'll get a reception, and then you might as well double down. I think like his yardage is like at 3.5 or 4 yards.
It is.
So if you think he's going to get a reception, go ahead and bet the over on his
Exactly,
yardage.
Andy.
Do a little double dip on that one.
Exactly. One more that I want to get with the 49ers. I believe that they might have a couple stall-out drives, Andy.
Okay.
And what I really like in this game is a play that I don't think a lot of people are on, but Jake Moody, the field goal kicker, over 1.5 field goals at a -110 bet.
Okay.
I think he's going to get at least 2 field goals in this game. That's a lock for me. 2 field goals for the 49ers.
All right.
I love the play.
I can buy that for $1. Sprinkle a little bit on that.
Yeah, give me the kicker.
I mean, we're talking Super Bowl. We got to include running backs, receivers, and the kicker.
And the kickers.
If I'm betting on Reba McEntire before the game even starts, I'm definitely betting on the kicker.
Yeah, definitely. No, I love that. Obviously, in the next segment, we might talk a couple defensive players that we like, couple defensive props, but those are my ones I'm hanging my hat on for the 49ers.
I like it. And I think we agreed on most of those. So that was kind of nice, too.
I love it.
Too much argument there. Let's take a minute to recognize one of our fabulous partners, and that is the Nebraska Brewing Company. World class in every glass. Don't go anywhere. This is WTL. And welcome back, everybody, to WTL. Where's the Line? Nebraska's first and only sports betting show. I'm your host, Andy Klesson, joined by
Jabron.
Oh, the Parlay Pounder.
Yes, sir.
And we're going to get a Super Bowl parlay.
Yeah.
Coming up here in just a minute. But first, between the San Francisco 49ers and the Kansas City Chiefs, Chiefs are still a 2-point dog as we speak right now. We want to talk about some fun party props.
Yes.
The average Super Bowl party is 14 people.
Yes.
And a lot of the fun parties have a prop sheet that kind of floats around.
Yep.
We're going to talk about some of these fun prop bets right now.
Love it, Andy.
So I know we already talked about the national anthem, the length. I'm looking at it. It's been moved up to 90.5 seconds.
Yeah, I think that's right on cue with it. The script is going to come out at some point.
Reba
so
McEntire.
if you really want to, hit that on the prop sheet before you get to the party, make sure you look what Reba did on her, practice round.
There you go. Yeah, because it will get let out there. Which the first song? What first song going to be performed by our halftime?
Usher.
Yep, by our halftime.
Oh man,
DJ's got you falling in love. You make me want to OMG.
Yeah. No, I would think. Yeah, it has to be one of the later songs, I would say.
You want to close with don't you?
You want to close with I think DJ Has Us Fallen in Love is a good one to kind of get the crowd going and everything. So I would go with that one for sure.
Very good. And real quick, we'll post one of these prop sheets for folks that maybe want to print them off. It's at covers.com. And while you're printing off, you might as well fill out the PDF and mail it in for some prizes. Maybe you're going to be on a heater.
Yeah, for sure.
And win some free prizes from covers.com. We don't get anything from those guys, just a really good resource online for betting material.
Just a lot of fun.
And a nice little prop sheet here. Any other of these fun props you're looking at?
Andy, one that I really like looking at is the total number of players to throw a pass in the Super Bowl. Over 2.5 is the line, obviously. You got the 2 quarterbacks, and they're thinking they might have one. This one, like I said, pretty simple. If you think a player besides the 2 quarterbacks will throw one, I just think we'll see at least one trick play, and this prop will hit. And even if we don't see a trick play, this prop could also hit if one of the quarterbacks take a big hit and a backup has to come in and get it. So I really like it.
Or a helmet gets shattered.
Exactly. I like it at the plus 160 on FanDuel and DraftKings as well, especially on the prop sheet as well. But as just a straight up bet, it's at a plus 160 as well.
I mean, I think Christian McCaffrey throws passes, Deebo Samuel throws passes.
Travis Kelce is an ex-quarterback.
There you go. And I think another receiver for the Chiefs is an ex-quarterback.
One of their other tight ends. I can't think of his name right now, but he is a quarterback as well. So, we got a lot of players that could do this. Especially with those reverses and stuff. But, we saw it last year. 4 quarterbacks threw passes for the 49ers in the NFC Championship. Yikes. So it could happen.
Yeah, and you're seeing things like what color is the Gatorade going to be, and there's all sorts of different things there, and there's also more like reality ones, like who's going to have the most receiving yards, and they give you a list of guys to check off.
It's just a lot of fun.
Yeah, so
these are things that you could really print out for people at your party, and throw a buck in. Everybody, whoever gets the most right gets it. These are a lot of fun to do, and definitely be happening at my Super Bowl party.
Give us a follow on our Twitter handle, and I'll be sure to have the link over there, and you'll just be able to click on it and print it out, do whatever you want to do there.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Now, you were looking at or talking about, maybe thinking about some of these defensive props, and you got one in mind here.
I just got one that I think is an absolute lock, Andy.
Okay.
Nick Bosa over a quarter sack, Andy, is at a minus 105 on DraftKings. This one is actually one of my really good bets for the weekend. Bosa has recorded 10 sacks in 11 playoff games and got to Patrick Mahomes once in their last Super Bowl meeting. This year he faces against Juwan Taylor, who has led the league in 20 accepted penalties in 2023. Against the Lions in the NFC Championship, Bosa had 2 sacks. Yeah. I like over a quarter sack. That means if he just gets a half sack, this bet cashes. Minus 105. You can't beat that value for just getting a half sack. I love Bosa at this spot.
Yeah, I like reversing the script here and talking about a defensive player likes to show out. Because we always talk about receivers that get up for big games, running backs that tend to get more carries in big games. And Bosa's that type of guy on the defensive side.
No doubt.
When the lights are bright, that's when he shines.
Yep. I just love this one. And having it at a quarter of a sack, I believe, is way undervalued. So, I love Nick Bosa in this game. What about you for a defensive?
Odds there will be a safety in Super Bowl 58.
Okay.
It's at a plus 1,000 right now at BetMGM. The odds imply there's a 9% chance that this could happen. Now, this has happened in 9 Super Bowls. So with those odds, you're talking a $100 wager, you could win $1,100. Yeah. That's what that plus 1,000 means right there. 12 teams recorded a safety this year. 49ers were one of those teams. Now, the Chiefs did not record a safety this year. However, the last time they did record a safety.
Yeah, it was in the Super Bowl, I would assume.
Well, no, but it was against the 49ers in Week 7 of 2022. They got old Jimmy Garoppolo to the ground.
There you go.
So, there's something to be said for there. Like I said, this has happened on 9 separate occasions in the Super Bowl. Can it happen on this one?
I think it's a fun one to just, maybe throw a couple bucks on. When you got huge pass rushers like Chris Jones and Nick Bosa on each side of the ball, it can happen. Obviously, people are going to be blitzing. I think these quarterbacks are a little smart for this, but it can happen.
It can happen. There is a way, and 4 of the times it's been because it was a defensive play tackle in the end zone.
Yeah,
2 of the times.
Definitely a holding call, like I just said.
There you go.
A lot of holding calls, so it can happen.
Yep, 2 offensive penalties were due to that. And then a bad snap and a block punt. And then, of course, I think it was a Belichick did an intentional one back in Super Bowl 47 because that's what he does.
Because he's the GOAT.
That was actually 49ers Ravens. It was Super Bowl 47. Yeah. So there you go.
Along those lines, Andy, I just wanted to say this one. Will there be an overtime in this Super Bowl? Yes, is at plus 900.
Wow.
A lot of history is on the opposite side of this one. There has been just one overtime game in Super Bowl history, and it just doesn't seem like this is going to be one of those games. It seems like it's going to come down to the last possession, but one team's going to be following the other, I believe.
These are 2 really smart coaches that are so good at clock management. I like it getting ended. If a team gets up by a score or 2 scores, look out, because these 2 guys know how to manage the clock.
Exactly. Nope, I would go no on that one as well. So the plus 900 value, probably not holding a lot in our book.
All right, Mr. Parlay Pounder, do you have a parlay bet, a little wager for Super Bowl 58?
I got the Shake It Off parlay going here with the KC Chiefs. No, I got the three-headed monster with the Kansas City Chiefs. I just believe that they're going to have a huge game in the Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes, over 270 passing yards. I'm pairing that with Isaiah Pacheco, over 70 rushing yards. And then the last leg is Travis Kelce, over 75 receiving yards. Three-headed monster. Putting $50 on this for $225. You cannot beat that value. All things that are going to happen probably in this game.
And we've been talking about it this entire hour, how Kansas City, they are limited on offense as far as who they distribute the ball to. San Francisco on the other side, it could go anywhere.
Too many players.
You have no idea. Is Kittle going to have a big game, or is he going to have 2 receptions?
Yeah.
You just don't know.
Yeah, is Debo going to get 1 catch or, 75 yards? Yeah, exactly. So, no, I like going with this three-headed monster. These three are going to be hugely involved in this game, and I love the value. Just risking $50 to bring back $225.
Ooh, you got to like those odds.
Got to like it.
And the ball's going to find its way to those 3 players.
No doubt.
Mahomes, of course, but Pacheco and Kelce's going to be heavily involved.
I love that play.
Regardless. No, I like it too. Well, we've been dancing all around it. We haven't been coming out with any definitive picks. We haven't even really been leaning one way or the other here. Let's get into it. We talked about how this line opened up at 2.5 back on January 22nd.
Yeah.
It got bet down about a week later, all the way to 1 point favorite for San Francisco.
Yeah.
Now it's been bet back up to 2. You might be able to find a 2.5 out there. It's getting slimmer and slimmer by the minute, but it's holding strong at 2-point favorite as your 49ers. That's the main one that everyone's talking about. I'll just come out and say it. I like Kansas City.
Yeah.
Covering for sure.
Andy, I was just going to agree with you 100%. I know it's kind of a boring pick to both do the same thing, but get on Kansas City right now with plus 110. Plus 110 money line for the Kansas City Chiefs is the best play in this Super Bowl. I think they should be favored no matter what. They have been there. They have won. They have beat this team in the Super Bowl before.
Right.
I just think that they have the gamers on their side. But I think the lock of the week, Andy, is buy the points to plus 3.5. It's at a minus 180 right now. That's still huge value because that is going to happen. They are not going to lose by more than a field goal. If you buy the points up to 3.5, plus 3.5, it's at a minus 180. I love those, but take the Kansas City Chiefs money line right now, plus 110. They are going to win the Super Bowl.
Boy, and I think that's a kind of a real sneaky thing. They're actually buying some points, getting it over that field goal. I've been hearing a lot of experts, betting analysis guys talk about, don't buy points. Don't buy points. It's not what it's cracked up to be. But it's something like this where you're getting off that key number of 3.
Yeah.
And you're talking about Mahomes?
You're talking about
in
Mahomes
the Super Bowl?
getting 3.5 points.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. He doesn't lose when he's the underdog anyways.
Yeah.
But if you want some more insurance, especially if you want to parlay that with something, buy the points and throw a couple of those props in there and do what you want to do with it. But no, I believe the Kansas City Chiefs will win this game. I feel sorry for the San Francisco 49ers and my boy McCaffrey, but I just reality has to set in at some point and do not give Mr. Mahomes any points.
Yeah, I like the experience. I like the experience as well. What about that total? Boy, that has just stayed at 47.5. These point predictors, they got Kansas City scoring 25. They got San Francisco scoring 23, which is interesting.
Yeah.
In that San Francisco is still your favorite.
It doesn't make any sense.
So it's right there. What I'm getting at is right there at 46.5, right there at 47.
Yeah.
So, it's right on the nose.
No, a lot of the stuff, Andy, I came in here with thinking the over was going to hit no problem, but a lot of stuff that you've talked to me about and a lot of stuff that I've read in the last couple of days makes me think that the under will hit. The under is 28-28 all time, but has hit in the last 4 of the last 5 Super Bowls. Like you were talking about with the San Francisco 49ers, everybody's jumping on that under 24.5 points.
Yep.
The Chiefs have only allowed 16 points per game this season. Only one team, the Packers in Week 13, have scored 25 or more points against that defense all year. So you would have to be a crazy man to bet the over, but that's what I am. So that's what it is.
We had to disagree sometime.
Let's go.
I'm all over the under. Didn't the Chiefs just win a gut check game with only 17 points?
They did against the MVP of the league.
There you go. And they got up by 1 touchdown down. They were so disciplined. They were just having 7-8 minute drives. They were just content being up by one score, really relying on that defense. So I love the under in this spot. But we both agree, Chiefs. Money line Chiefs. And the points, I like the under. You like the over.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about. We got to disagree on something. I think a lot of our player props we agree on, but it's going to be a lot of fun. I cannot wait for Super Bowl Sunday. This is the best day of the year for sports bettors.
Yes.
You can do anything you want. You don't have to follow us, but it's a lot of fun just to look at the sports book and get out there and do some fun stuff.
And that'll about do it for us this week. Be sure to follow us on ESPN Tri-City Radio and their Facebook page, and get on Twitter there if you are on Twitter, or X as it's more commonly known as now. Give us a follow on that podcast_WTL Sports Betting. We'll have that prop sheet posted. I'll pin it there, you can go ahead and print it off, and it does add a lot of fun to a party. If you're hosting a party, you're going to a party, and you bring 20 of those sheets with you, you guys will have a lot of fun following that throughout the game.
It's a lot of fun.
Get on our YouTube channel. We're going to have daily picks coming out from today all the way through Sunday. You're also going to be putting those picks up on TikTok.
Yep. Got to go to TikTok at WTL Sports Betting. You'll find us right there, and definitely probably about 4 or 5 really good player props coming out up until game time. It's going to be a lot of fun. Make some money with us. For Joe Braun, the Parlay Pounder, I'm Andy Klassen. Thank you for listening. This has been WTL.